David's in Paddington. David, what do you think?
Well, Eddie, I come on to LBC every day at 4 o'clock listening and hoping that I'm going to hear a good mix of evaluated, proper journalism. This is coming from unnamed sources. Surely one of the rules of journalism is to check your source, find out who it is and double check it. But to have an hour on LBC about gossip from 6 months ago, from October last year, when somebody's saying that somebody said something to someone and someone said something, no, he didn't, yes, he did, no, he didn't. It's childish, it's not good journalism, and I'm thoroughly disappointed in you for following this story until you get your source. Once you've got your source, come back and let's have a proper discussion.
You're inclined to believe Boris Johnson with his record of lying than 3 people who say they heard it?
Listen, he's got a thoroughly good record of lying, as you say, like the side of the bus and Brexit. But there's no proof of this. It's 6 months old. It's coming right on the back of this last thing about Dyson and who texted what to whom. It's clearly a media campaign to get Boris out.
David, what makes you think it's a media campaign? What makes you think it's a media campaign?
Because, come on, last week there was this thing about a text about Dyson, and now this from unnamed sources from October. Why is it suddenly coming out now, Eddie, 6 months later from an unnamed source?
And you don't think Dyson and this and the furnishing of the flat and Jennifer Arcuri and others, you don't think all of that adds up to something to you? It's all a media get-up.
Well, come on, where's the source? Where's the named source from 6 months ago? When you've got the source, come back and
the sources, 3 sources have spoken to journalists independently.
Unnamed.
That's the most critical thing, is it? No, when you say... hold on, David. No, don't say unchecked. David, don't say unchecked. They're unnamed, but they're not unchecked. That's why independent journalists have spoken to the sources independently and individually. And by the way... some of the politicians we've heard speaking on the record today also make good use of being unnamed sources to journalists. So let's not be naive about that. Let's not be naive about that.
Okay, but look, 2,000 people a day are dying in India. There's 24 million.
And we devoted hours to India last week, and we're going to talk about it again in the next hour. But don't you think the Prime Minister's probity and integrity is important to talk about?
It is, once you've got the sources checked and double-checked.
The sources have been checked, and we'll speak to Robert Peston in a moment.
Yeah, from ITV, another gutter newspaper as far as it goes. It's just gutter gossip of tittle-tattle of who said what to whom. It's from last October.
It's called journalism.
6 months old.
And that's the critical fact for you, is it? Because it didn't happen yesterday?
No, it happened 6 months ago, and there's no evidence to back it up. It's just gossip.
There are accounts from at least 3 different people that it was said. Now, it is disputed. We had Michael Gove and his words, and Boris Johnson was asked about it again today and said, no, he didn't say it. But when anything between 125,000 and 150,000 people are dead, to have 3 people inside Downing Street, by the way, this is not passers-by. They didn't overhear this in a market or in a public loo. They're in the heart of Downing Street, and they say that Boris Johnson said, no more effing lockdowns, let the bodies pile up in their thousands. You immediately go to giant media conspiracy.
No, I don't say it's a giant media conspiracy. All I'm saying is highly suspicious that there's no source. It's 6 months
That's
old,
how it works. You know that's how it works. We've established that.
Why are we spending an hour talking about it? Okay, give us 5 minutes on it because it's involving the Prime Minister. And he says he didn't say it. Somebody else says he did. He didn't, he did. He didn't, he did. But
it's not one person's word against another. There are 3 sources.
3 unnamed sources. What isn't surely, Eddie? Did you not learn that you're supposed to check your source in journalism?
The sources have been checked. You're confusing checking sources with naming them. And that's a fatal mistake, David.